Okay. Hopefully this will be the final cut. To be fair, didn't mind they got interrupted. The video itself was kind of a couple mistakes, or not mistakes, but a couple things I could have smoothed over, and now I can. Okay, so this is part of what I'll be reading for the next few weeks. And what I mean by that is this is quite literally part two. Yes, I do say literally like that. I can't not say it like that. Those you, if you know, you know. But the reason why this is part of part two. Part one was essentially the ones that had Ex Machina in the pile. Before Watchmen, comedian Rorschach. You had I can't think Harrow County, Superman, American Alien, among others. That was that pile. Some of those I have finished. So you expect a review of those comics very soon. Not those specific ones, just like I finished Osborn. I finished Transmetropolitan Volume 3. So, but I do reviews in parts. Like I do this in parts too, just because that's the way I do it. But this is the books I'm adding into the pile. The reason for why that is going to be more obvious to those who have been watching this channel for long enough, because this is the Image comics that I add per month. Since January, I've done it since I've been before January, but since January I've really gotten into a system, and the system was to have at least two per month, that are published by Image Comics that are in my personal collection that I add to the to read next pile. The first one, there's two criteria. First criteria is what I have read before, and the second is what I have not read before. Now, the have read befores, I do try to add. I do add. The exception is that it has to be from my personal collection, and it has to be also the library had it. I liked it so much I added to my PC. That is what the ones I've read before have to be. And of course, the ones I haven't read before, the only criteria is that it's my personal collection. They're in my personal collection. They always read the edition that I have. Well, you'll soon see that that's not the case. Let's begin. First one up is Black Science Volume 3. Because this is Volume 3, because it hasn't been that long since I showed off that I was rereading Volumes 1 and 2, I will keep this brief. First of all, I did not read this first thanks to my local library. It started out as one I haven't read before, but I liked it so much that I already want to read it again. And thus, that's why you see Volume 3 right before you, and I say that I've read it before. Written by Rick Remender. Next up, we have A Righteous Thirst for Vengeance, Volume 1. Why do I have two copies? Well, I have my copy from way back when, but because Righteous Thirst for Vengeance is a 2-volume series, and I only had Volume 1, and the library, I decided, you know what, if I'm getting Volume 2 from the local library, let's get Volume 1 too. So a whole entire series. Now, I did say different format. I'll be reading this series in paperback. I do own the oversized hardcover that collects the full series, but when I read it, I want to read the paperbacks that the library has. Just a little novelty, a way for everything to come full circle back and circle back around to the library had it. I liked it so much, or was prominent enough. Not every book is I liked it enough. Sometimes it's just prominent. I liked it enough / was prominent enough that I want to add it to my personal collection. Just a way for it to come full circle, even though I haven't read this yet. Not even once. Also, this is also read by Rick Remender. And also, another little another little thing on it is floppies here. Check see if there's something here that I missed. Because sometimes there is something here. There's a little addition. I like the little additions. No? Okay, good. So I thought there was something else I had to mention, but no, I had the little floppies. My local comic shop didn't have past issue 7, so unfortunately I had to stop after issue 7, and never got the rest of the series until now. Oh, what I'm going to do with my copy of Volume 1, where it's redundant to even have it, I'll be giving it away to that same guy, that same Instagram follower, to who I'm giving Precious Metal and others to. because I got 2 copies of Precious Metal. It's an Instagram follower, and I think he might have that though. I think he might already have Righteous Thirst for Vengeance. That's so. Why not ask him? Well, I want that to be a surprise. He already knows about Precious Metal, but the other stuff I want to be a surprise for him. And yeah, he already knows if he watches your video. Then yeah, he probably does. But I didn't say everything. There's more than just that. All right. Next up, we have Revival Volumes 1 and 2. Now, eagle-eyed viewers will know that, or not eagle-eyed viewers who have watched my most recent video will know that I have the compendium for Revival. I want to read it in the oversized hardcovers, but my local library had Volume 1, and I owned Volume 2, so I decided, in my order, never mind. So the library had Volume 1, and I had Volume 2 paperbacks, so I decided to hell with it. For the first 2 volumes, I'll be reading it in standard size trade paperback version. Now, why do I have Volume 2 and not Volume 1? Well, way back when I had seen this, I'm at a local comic shop for $6, and I decided just to get it. I used to be quantity over quality back then, and I was still a long time ago, but even longer before that, I did what I like to call quantity over quality, where I just would get, hey, there's 17 volumes of new X-Men. They're all out of order. It's like, or I get 17 books, and 10 of them are Ultimate X-Men, but they're not in the right order. So instead of going 1 through 10, it's 1, 10, 18, 14, 16, 22, 5, and 8, or something like that, and then etc. That's what I would do. I would just get it, and I was like, you know what? I don't care. I got 17 books. None of them are in the right order. I'm not going to understand what's going on whatsoever because I don't have the consecutive volumes. And it was just like, hey, I got 17 books for $20. And nowadays, and then I would not get something like the complete collection of Daniel Way's run of Deadpool that was right there. I could have gotten for the same amount of money, but it's only 4 books. It's not 17. I have since stopped doing that. I want to say that I stopped doing that when even before college. So I started collecting in 2013. I went to college in 2018. I graduated 2018 from high school. So I want to say it was 2018 I stopped doing 2017, 2018 where I stopped doing that once and for all. Now, why did I do it for Revival? It was just a novelty. I was like, hey, library has Volume 1, Volume 2 is right here. Let's read the whole entire series. Let's read the whole entire series starting here. And then if I get Volume 1 myself, I get Volume 1 myself. But again, there's a novelty that the library has Volume 1. And I just bought Volume 2. Now, after Volume 2, I will be reading the oversized hardcovers, and the reason for why that is because I want to read it in oversized hardcover format. I'm not going to get rid of the compendium. I will read the compendium next time I read a Revival, but I just thought it was kind of like this little novelty to do it that way. I don't do it for every book. Like the ones you'll soon see here. So that's the end of me doing that, like the little novelty thing, except for one. But for the most part, I just read my own copy. And especially if it's the same exact book, there's no reason to do that. Like with Sleepless, my local library had both trade paperbacks, like I had both trade paperbacks. I'm not going to get the library's copy. I read my own copy. There was no reason to do that. It's just exceptions like this. And actually, I am reading Volume 2 of my own copy, so there you go. And the 2 floppies for Righteous Thirst. But yeah, like Black Science, I'm not going to see if my local library has those oversized hardcovers. I'm just going to read what I own for the trades. I'm not going to go insane and to do that for every single book there. It was just, every now and then, I just feel I need to do that, and I like just doing that. And I'm going to throw Revival here. Next series is Clone. This is 4 volumes, so Volume 1, 2, 3, and 4 of Clone. 20 issues total. I decided this month, not only am I going to add more than 2, as you can clearly see, books from Image per month, but I also wanted to do at least one series that was like 20 issues or more. And you'll soon see that there is more than just one that's 20 issues. Because I'm going to give myself the whole entire month, starting on the 1st, ending on the 31st to read and finish all of these that I'm showing off right now. But, and this is written by David Schulner. And we see, yeah, I said Tim. It was this cut that I said Tim Seeley was my favorite writer, right? I believe I did. Just in case I didn't mention it, Revival, written by Tim Seeley, who was not my favorite writer at all, and I'm hoping that Revival breaks that streak of me liking anything he's written. Don't know what it is, but this is written by David Schulner. I don't know anything about David Schulner. In fact, this is the only thing he has written for comics, at least. And obviously, I've not read this yet. But 4 volumes. And ironically enough, I got this last year for my birthday last year. Was it the year before? Year before. I know, it's taking that long. Yeah. I clearly a lot of these are, as you can tell, a lot of these are ones that I've just been putting off to read for the first time for a very long time now, and I'm rectifying that mistake. That's another thing about doing these per month image books, is just ones that I have been putting off for whatever reason to not read yet. For one reason or another. I'm not going to tell you what reason. Sometimes I will. Like I did with Middle West, like I thought I was going to get everything Scotty Young did for Image, but it just took so long that I just decided to hell with it, and I really did want to finish Middle West once and for all, so I did. Alright. Next up, we have another 4-volume series, but this time it's like 16 issues total, and that is Man-Eaters by Chelsea Cain. Volumes 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, this, except for Volume 4, the last issues of each trade was just, it was an actual comic. So it wasn't like this, how your average comic book looks like, with the panels, the war balloons, the artwork, all of that. Chelsea Cain decided to be a little bit more creative, quote unquote, and just do a whole entire issue just like this. I skipped reading that the first time I read this series. I didn't feel like it was at all necessary, and I'm kind of glad that I ended up doing that. Now, this series I have read before. My local library had it, and it was such a fun read. In not the best way possible. This is an example of a guilty pleasure. Something that it is so bad it's good. Had so much fun with this one. It's obviously not a well-written comic, but it's so earnest in what it wants to do that it has some charm to it in that regard. And it's just well-written. Like, well-written in the sense that it flows nice. I was never bored reading this. The pacing was top-notch. The dialogue was pretty damn good. Like, in the sense that it didn't feel like it was... It didn't always feel like it was preachy 24/7. Yes, it is preachy. It is one of those books that that crowd on YouTube complains about every single comic being nowadays. This is what they're talking about. This is a great example of, yeah, this book that they're talking about right now, like an issue of X-Men, they're blowing it out of proportion, but this they were not blowing out of proportion. Maybe a little bit, but the point they were making was a valid point. And that is it's a great example of them actually being right for once. I don't want to say for once, but them being right, like 100% right. Like, and then everyone can agree that they were being 100% right when they said what they said about Man-Eaters. But again, guilty pleasure, and I honestly cannot wait to read the series again. I liked what I read. Again, I skipped the stuff at the end. It's just kind of like world building, and for me, I just felt it was unnecessary to read. It did not add much to the story, I feel. Or I think, I should say. Not that I feel, because I, again, didn't read it. They did do that. So the issues themselves, it was not all of that. Sometimes you did get like 1 or 2 pages of those little pamphlet things I just showed that entire issue being. And that never added too much for me. I liked it as a novelty, especially when it was quick. It was just like an actual pamphlet. Like, like the, like, for example... this right here. This is fine. This little PSA pamphlet thing, I don't mind. It's a quick read. It's not that bad. It does add a little bit to the story. Makes the world feel more lived in. But then, when you get stuff like... I just saw it. Okay, it was this way. Like... this right here. this is a little bit annoying. I don't think Chelsea Kane expects us to read every single word there, especially because the font is so small. But it's just kind of weird to add in. But also, I don't think that even that isn't that bad. Even that is kind of a nitpick. But this is definitely not a nitpick. This whole little, like, what looks like a interview in just all text. That's very annoying to have to read all that. But I think it'll be... Oh, it's an essay, not an interview. It's an essay. That I definitely will say is probably unnecessary. But hey, you know what? I might also like when I read it. And it'll take a lot longer to finish that issue, but I might feel like it's worth it at the end of the day, which is why I'm going to give it a shot this time around. So technically, this is not a reread. It's mostly a reread. That's why I added in one other book you'll soon see here. We got three series left, but two more big ones. And this one is probably the biggest because there's 5 volumes, and that is Moonshine by Brian Azzarello, one of my favorite comic book writers of all time. This is volume 1. You saw volume 1. This is volume 2. Volume 3. Volume 4. And volume 5. I just realized that was completely out of focus. Let's do it again. Volume 1. Volume 2. Volume 3. Volume 4. And Volume 5 of Moonshine. Now, I have read the first issue of Moonshine. When I said Moonshine. The first time I read it, I didn't like it at all, and I was like, "Oh my God, Brian Azzarello, you wrote 100 bullets. How could you fall so hard?" And then I read it again, and I was like, "Yeah, that was." I have no idea what I was saying because I loved the first issue of Moonshine so much so that I bought the entire series right off the bat. And again, like with Clone, this is another one where I really think to myself, why haven't I checked this out sooner? And I don't have any answers to that. So again, rectifying that mistake. Now, I have read his 100 Bullets. Not all of it. I read what is collected. I think it was the first 19 issues. Whatever is collected in book 1, that thick trade paperback that they just had a reprint of. And I loved it. That was like just top notch, like one of the closest books that I have read to being in my top 5 of all time. Like that, it already is top 10 because of that regard. Now, when I do my top 10, I don't include series I haven't finished, so 100 Bullets would not be included in the top 10, but it would be an honorable mention. I would say this is an honorable mention only because I haven't finished the series. But again, 100 Bullets is like one of the best comics I've read of all time. Hell, might even be top 5. And I honestly, because it's called 100 Bullets. It's also 100 issues. Nice little novelty there. But just finding time to read it. I want to read it all in one go, one issue per day for 100 days. Hell, I mean, you know what? I'll do that. I'll probably in January of 2026. I'll probably start reading it on January 1st. That way, on the 100th day of the year, March 10th, I believe it's the 100th day. No, it's a 420th day, because I know it's also Mario Day. That was a video that I did way back when. You can see it for yourself, but I'm not gonna explain it here. Video's already getting long enough for me prattling on, so let's move on. Long story short, it was something it was a collaboration with my cousin that I had. It was a nice little thing there, but I don't want to explain the joke. Alright, so this next one is 30 issues, and that is Sex Criminals. This is the complete edition, and they cover up part of the O, so it looks like a U. Very funny joke there. This is written by Matt Fraction, and this I haven't before. So this is why I have Man Eaters and this. I wanted to have 2 rereads because of the fact that I was thinking to myself, well, Man Eaters technically doesn't count, because you haven't read all the issues. And yeah, even though issue 4 doesn't count as an issue, I was like, you know what, fine. I'll add in Sex Criminals. Now this, I will be starting this is a good example of what I mean by I wanted to add more books that were more than 20 issues. I want to add books that are more than 20 issues. The reason why that is because this is 31 issues total. The whole entire series is 31 issues. There are 31 days. There aren't 31 days in June, isn't there? Okay, there's 30 days in June. They have a bonus issue. So, but it's still 31 issues. But, yeah, so I just want it to be a nice little novelty there. So I'll be reading one issue of Sex Criminals per day from June 1st to June 30th, and on June 30th I'll obviously have to read 2 issues per day on that date. Yeah, only 30 days in July. July had 31 days. Why didn't I just wait till July? I don't know. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna say, oh well, in that case, I'm not reading Sex Criminals. Instead, I'm reading this. No, I'm just gonna read Sex Criminals. I'll just read 2 issues per day on the last day. Who the hell cares? So you won't be getting a review for Sex Criminals until July, which is crazy to think about. I know. But it's a reread. I adored it the first time I read it. I thought it was like one of the best comics I've read. And I think it's the sole reason for why when I hear people say that Matt Fraction isn't the best writer, I think that's insane for people to say. And the reason for why when I read something by Matt Fraction and I don't like it that much, I wonder, what was the book I read by him that I really liked? Oh yeah, Sex Criminals. And it's one of those things. Because of how much I like Sex Criminals, I already think of Matt Fraction as being a really great writer. I also started reading his Hawkeye, and I've liked that so far. From what I've read so far. Okay, so we got all those. I said who the writers were for each book. David Schulner for Clone, only things read and written for Image Comics, and then some general revival. Okay. Alright. And now, the last, but certainly not the least, Dracula. Yet again, the novelty. Here's my copy, and then here is the library's copy. Again, not going to do this every single time, but just thought it was kind of a nice little novelty to read, for the first time ever, read my library's copy. Again, it was to wait for it to come full circle. That's how I started, like, Paper Girls, I started reading that, my library's copy, and then now because I like it so much, I now own it. Same with Saga, same with Wicked and Divine, Wayward, and so many others. I had a library's copy, and I liked it so much, I bought it myself, and now it's in my PC. And I like doing this every month. It's the one for my PC, reading for the first time, and then the second book for the month being the reread. But at least 2. So, and that, as they say, is that. I cannot wait to read these. Unfortunately, I'm recording this on the 31st of May, so I can't jump right into reading these. I do want to start reading these on June 1st, because I want to count them as the books I've read in June. In my little, when I do my end of the year video, where I show all the Image books I've read this year, I do want to split them up into months. Thus, I don't want to have anything that I started in May, even if it was the 31st of the month. For that, I include it as a June. Now, if some of them I'm reading, they go past June into July, they shouldn't, but if they do end up doing that, I won't count them as being a June-July book. I'll just say it was June. But that, as I say, is that. Oh, and James Tynion. Sorry, James Tynion writes Dracula. And this is so another thing I want to add is that this is another one of those Universal Monsters books. I read The Creature from the Black Lagoon Lives last month, and I like that one. So, and it's James Tynion. He's an incredible writer for horror, so I have high hopes for Dracula. And yes, it was the same Dracula book that I got just this month, or this past month. It's again, I'm opening this in June, but I got in May of 2025. It was Dracula. And I did want, same with Righteous Thirst, and then eventually for Revival. I want to start on those. At least start in it in Revival's case, and then finish it in Righteous Thirst for Vengeance's case. Now, what was the criteria? Why I picked specifically Righteous Thirst and, out of all the books, Revival and Righteous Thirst? Well, both those were gifts from outside the family. Well, one was my sister, but it wasn't one I bought myself. with my parents' budget. It was like, other people, and kind of thought like, you know what, let's start with those, because that is the one. Those are the ones that I think are the most important, because they're the ones that, yeah, okay, I told them what they give me, but still they got me as a gift. So it's kind of one of those things. Whereas the ones I bought myself, that's like you got to get for yourself. Sure, it wasn't your money that you were spending. It's one of those things. I think it makes a lot more sense, and I don't think I need to explain it any further. So I will end the video.